All right, next problem up. Read the question sentence first. Let's see if that can give us any sort of hints or any giveaways here. So I see that it says, if one loaf requires 2/4 cups, how many loaves can be made? Okay, so when I see that, everybody, here's one of the ways that we can actually interpret this. Everyone, is it fair? And you tell me if this sounds fair to say. Is it fair if I said that, hey, if one loaf requires this many cups, can I also write that as each loaf? If each loaf requires this many cups, how many loaves can be made? Is that another way we could say that? Because if we're identifying how much one is the same thing as saying each. Think about it. One of them is 2 cups. Each of them are 2 cups. It's the same thing. Being able to interpret these words is going to go a very long way. Because here's what we have, everybody. The baker has 22 total cups of flour. All right. 22 total cups of flour. Each loaf requires 2/4 cups. So, with that said, my party people, if we have 2/4 cups per loaf, we need to multiply that by the number of loaves to get the grand total. So we already have the grand total, everybody. We have the total cups of flour. So you tell me, everybody, are we working forward, multiplying the 22 by 2/4? Or are we dividing by 2/4 to get the number of loaves? Yeah, we're dividing. So this is a very bad day if you don't like fractions and you especially hate dividing by fractions, because it's going to make itself apparent here. And I don't want you to take that as oh man, I'm never going to get this right. I want you to take it as, hey, if I practice this the right way, I can make a problem that's going to show up, a problem that I know I'm going to have to tackle in some way or another. I can get it right with a little bit of patience and practice. Absolutely. So watch this. The operation that we're performing here is we're going to take the total and we're going to divide by the number of cups each loaf requires. So I'll divide by 2/4. And from here, we can do keep, change, flip. So here's how that looks. We'll keep the first value the same, 22, which is the same thing as just saying 22 over 1. You can write it like that if you'd like to. We will change the operation from division to multiplication. And then we will flip the fraction that's being divided from 2 over 4 to 4 over 2. Just like that. So my party people, before we multiply, we can simplify before that just to give ourselves a little more room, a little more leeway here. Can you tell me, everybody, 4 divided by 2, they're both divisible by 2. So we can simplify that actually very quickly. And we can make this right there and there. 4 divided by 2. Let me erase that. Perfect. That's going to make that 2 up top, 1 in the denominator. And everybody, this becomes very straightforward from here because 1 times 1 in the denominator is 1, and 22 times 2, that's 44. And dividing anything by 1, well, that just gives you the number itself. And there we go. Boom, the correct answer here is answer choice A. It would have been very easy to believe that we're multiplying 22 by 2/4 to get 11, but that's the idea here. We have to understand what the math is saying happens or happened so we can perform that same logic or backwards. But it's always about the story first. Hopefully this was a good, valuable lesson for you. And let's go on to the next one. Next up, and the first thing we do as always, everyone, is read the question sentence first. So right here, how tall is the hold? Everyone, when we ask how tall something is, what kind of a dimension are we talking about typically? Is that a width? Is that a length? We're talking about how tall something is. That's the height, right? Yeah, that is the height. So in this question sentence, we can determine or inference that, yeah, we're trying to determine some sort of height. All right, so I'll keep that there. Up next, well, what is related to this height? What shape are we dealing with? What do we have going on here? And so if we take a look, it says a cargo hold is 5 feet long and 10 feet wide. Everybody, it almost sounds like they just described a rectangle. But here's the problem. When we read it can hold 200 cubic feet, everyone, what kind of a unit is cubic feet? What kind of a unit is that? Cubic feet describes what type of unit? Yeah, it describes volume. It describes volume. So before you think that you're dealing with a rectangle, think again, because you're actually thinking of a rectangular prism. Again, cubic feet tells you volume. And if you notice, we have length, width, height. This is a rectangular prism. Again, we have the length, width, and height mentioned, and the volume given. So that's how you can put those pieces together and say, I have everything that I need for a rectangular prism. And the formula goes like this. The volume equals the length times the width times the height. And so just to be extra clear, everybody, remember that we're looking for the height. So let me just highlight that right there. Because sometimes it's a little hard to notice if you're working forward or backwards. And let me show you how we know that we're working backwards here, everybody. So first, everybody tell me, the length, what is it? Give it to me in the chat box. The length that is given to us is, right there, it's 5. The width that's given to us, right there, it's 10. The height, it is not given to us. Again, how tall is it? That's what we're looking for. When you take a look right here, the cubic feet, the 200 is the volume. So that 200 that we're plugging in, we're not plugging it in here. No, we're plugging it in here. This is, something that matters just as much as knowing your formula, knowing how to identify the values therein. Because once we identify the values, then we can understand naturally speaking, whether we're working forward or backwards. Everybody, because we don't have the 3 dimensions we need to multiply, we are working what? Yeah, we're working backwards. And there it is. So here we go. 200 equals 5 times 10 times h. We can rewrite that as 50h. And from here, just divide both sides by the 50 so we can get that h, the height, by itself. So there we go. Cancels out on the right. And we leave here with height equals 4. Because the zeros, you can cancel them out. And then you essentially have 20 divided by 5, which is 4. And there we go. The height's 4, which is 4 feet. So again, an exercise in knowing what to plug in and where, and then recognizing that we're working backwards from that point.